And if you're like me, you've never tried John's Lunch. And this weekend will be your last chance to do so, so I got to get over there.
I know, Paul, you and I both.
Yeah.
After 54 years, the iconic restaurant, known to have some of the best fish and chips here in the city, they will officially be closing their doors on Monday. And that is where we find our Amber Friday this morning for one last lunch. Good morning, Amber. How's it going over there?
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Eilish. It's going good. As you can see, the fish is getting fried up here behind me. These folks have already been here for a couple hours preparing to serve 500 pieces of fish today. And that's how it's been since they have announced their closing back in September. And I am joined here this morning by Irene Baltus, who has been the owner since 2016, but she's worked here for the past 26 years. So I can only imagine how bittersweet this feels for you.
Oh, it is. It's very emotional. I grew up here, so it's sad that we're closing the doors.
Yeah, and I know it's for an unfortunate reason. Can you tell us why you've made this difficult decision to close after being, the most famous, well-known fish and chips in the province essentially for so long?
It's just it wasn't making sense anymore. Our food costs are going up and up. The building's old, like you fix one thing, 3 other things break, it's been hard.
Yeah, I know the reaction from the public has just been, they're shocked, they're saddened, and, like me, I've never tried John's Lunch before, so there's a lot of nostalgia around it too. What has it been like, for your customers and everybody to hear of this closing?
Oh, the outpouring of we've had people come from San Francisco to come fly and eat here before we close our doors. It's just we've been selling out every day. It's super emotional. Like, so many people have been coming in, like, this is where I came for my first date with my husband, and they've been married for 40, 50 years. It's a really nostalgic place for people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you said that you normally do about 300 pieces of fish a day, but lately it's been 500 pieces.
Plus, yeah.
500 plus.
Yeah.
Wow. And so Monday is the last chance to try John's Lunch if you haven't done so before. What are the hours going to be like on Monday?
We open at 11 and close at 7:30.
Okay, so get over here and get a piece of fish if you haven't had it before, or if you have. I know that you probably want to try it again before they close their doors on Monday. I'll be back next hour, and I will be helping these guys fry up some fish, so you don't want to miss that. Back to you.
Sounds like Amber's having fish and chips for breakfast on the Thursday edition of our show. We can't wait for that. Amber Friday at John's Lunch in Dartmouth. Thanks, Amber. And as mentioned, if you're like me, never tried John's Lunch, this weekend will be your last chance to do so.
After 54 years, the iconic restaurant known to have the best fish and chips in the city, they will officially close their doors on Monday. And that is where we find our Amber Friday this morning. Amber, good morning. I imagine it smells very good where you are right now.
Good morning. It does. It smells amazing. And I've been in here for the last probably about 20, 30 minutes or so, helping my buddy Dennis here fry up some of this delicious haddock. And let me tell you, they fry it to perfection, and they have their own little method here. I'm going to show you what they do. Dennis has worked here at John's Lunch for 42 years. Dennis, what has that 42 years been like for you?
Oh, it's been great. Obviously, when I started out, I was pretty shy, and then afterwards I started to get to know all the customers and everything. And
it's been like family, you said.
A lot of family, yes, and we go over the place for supper, dinner, and well,
right.
Obviously after being here all that time.
So I'm going to put it in here. Dennis, how long does it stay in the first fryer?
Probably about 30 seconds to a minute, and then we'll transfer it over to the other one to get a little more of a crisp to it.
Yeah, and so that's why you do it. You're frying it to perfection. You're literally going to transfer it to this other fryer. And how long will it stay in there?
No more than about a minute. It's usually about that. Usually. As long as everything's working all right, yes.
And now I know since you announced that you were closing in September, I know Good Friday is normally the busiest day of the year. You have a lineup out the door, but since you've announced the closing, obviously lots of folks want to get in and have some John's Lunch. What has it been like preparing for these last couple months?
Well, we're really busy putting in a lot of extra hours and stuff, and every day since we announced we're closing is pretty much like Good Friday now.
So how many pieces of fish are you frying up every day?
Probably about 500.
500. So what time do you start doing this in the morning?
Depending on how much extra you might have to do, so sometimes usually the boys are, you know, if I'm not here, it could be anywhere from 5 on. Sometimes Terry, actually, that did earlier there, he usually might just show up maybe 4:30 in the morning, but
Yeah. Are you ready to throw in the towel after these 42 years, or what are your sentiments towards the closing? Final day, of course, is on Monday.
That's when it's not be closing, but it's be another chapter. Just move on and do something. Well, I'm hoping to do the same thing. Not sure where, but if not, I do have a fallback to go to. But
Definitely. And now you will be here all weekend long, frying up fish here through till Monday, right?
Yes.
So, and what time will you be open on Monday, your final day?
we'll be open at 11. I'm sure if we're ready to go and someone's here a little early, probably would let them in, but instead of making them wait outside, and then we'll go right to 7:30.
All right, well, if you're looking to get your final piece of fish at John's Lunch, you have until Monday to do so. And Paul, I anticipate that you will be here to finally get to your first taste of John's Lunch.
Hello, Paul.
And it is delicious. It is the best fish that I've ever had.
Oh, we'll be there, and say hello to Dennis too. I just heard him give a little shout out there. So, man, what a career he's had over there at John's Lunch. Thanks for this, Amber.
Incredible. Thanks so much.